So tensions between Afghanistan and Pakistan have been escalating after Pakistan launched airstrikes in an eastern province of Afghanistan, which by some estimates has killed 46 people. This was an airstrike that took place on Tuesday in Paktika province of Afghanistan, which shares a border with Pakistan. It's on the eastern, it's one of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. But these airstrikes, which is of course not the first time that Pakistan has launched airstrikes in Afghanistan, were reportedly targeted at base camps used by the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is of course also known as the TTP. The TTP is also known as the Pakistani Taliban. Now, it does have links with the Taliban, which rules Afghanistan, but and has been launching repeated terror attacks inside Pakistan, which is why Pakistan has launched these terror strikes. But this issue of the TTP and Pakistani security and terrorism taking place in Pakistan has become a major flashpoint between Afghanistan and the Taliban government in Kabul, as well as between Pakistan. So you had these strikes that killed for around 46 people. That's the number we're getting at this point in time. And what is also clear is that now there have been increased diplomatic and military tensions between the two countries. Of course, the Ministry of National Defense in Afghanistan, of course controlled by the Taliban, said that this is a cowardly act that will not go unanswered, and it condemned this as a violation of international principles, Pakistan's airstrikes, that is. And since then, Afghanistan's Foreign Office has actually summoned Pakistan's head of mission in Kabul. It's delivered a formal protest note raising its concerns about this Pakistani airstrike. And one of the pieces of news that's just broken within the last hour on the Afghanistan Times and other news outlets that cover Afghanistan closely is that the Taliban has mobilized heavy and anti-aircraft weaponry to Afghanistan's border regions with Pakistan. Of course, this does not mean that there will be a spiraling conflict, but the Taliban is trying to show that it is taking this this attack by Pakistan on its territory seriously. Now, there is, of course, a history to this that we have to understand why the Taliban and Pakistan over the last year or two have increasingly come to blows with each other, have had increasing tensions. Remember that the Taliban was a group that the Pakistanis helped take control of Afghanistan back in the 1990s. And despite that, decades of history and really a close cooperative relationship in many ways, why the relationship between the two seems to be filled with tension these days. So what we have to understand here is, first of all, of course, the TTP. The TTP it does get its name from the Afghanistan Taliban, but it is not directly part of this group that rules Afghanistan. Its aim, of course, is to impose Islamic religious law in Pakistan. It has launched several terror attacks within Pakistan, some quite horrific. In fact, just last week, a Saturday, if my memory serves me correctly, 16 security personnel from Pakistan were killed in a terror attack by the TTP, and this is a campaign. The battle between the TTP, the Pakistani Taliban, and the Pakistani security forces has been going on for quite some time, and frankly, the security forces of Pakistan have not come out on top so far in this battle against the Pakistani Taliban. Now, what we have to understand is that this airstrike comes right after, just a couple of days after the terror attack that took place in Pakistan's South Waziristan province. Like I said, 16 security personnel were killed. And this is just following on a very, very broad trend where close to, I think, 2,800 deaths, close to 3,000 deaths have been caused by TTP attacks in Pakistan in just the last 3 years. So since the fall of Afghanistan and the taking over of Kabul by the Taliban, which was in September 2021, you would recall, in just those 3 years, there have been close to 3,000 deaths caused by Pakistani Taliban attacks over the last 3 years in in Pakistan more generally. And of course, 16 people, like I said, 16 security personnel, were killed on just Saturday. So the airstrike which happened Tuesday, just a couple of days ago, was following on from that. Now, Pakistan has been very, very, very clear that it has serious security concerns about what is happening in with the Pakistani Taliban, and it has been putting pressure on the Taliban in Afghanistan, the government in Kabul, to talk to the Pakistani Taliban, to put pressure on them to ensure that they do not carry out these terror attacks in Pakistan. But the Pakistani the Taliban in Kabul has been saying that, look, yes, they are affiliate groups, yes, we know them well, but We do not have control over them. They are a separate group. And they are not under our thumb as you would like to believe. So this has been a constant area of tension. Pakistan believing that the Taliban in Kabul is not doing enough despite all the decades of support that Islamabad has provided the Taliban in Kabul. Pakistan is now saying that you're not doing enough to help us counter this terrorist menace. The terrorist menace that has killed 3,000 people in Pakistan over the last 3 years. So this has been an area of a point of constant tension. In fact, in November, Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister, I believe it was November 2023, Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister Anwar ul Haq Kakar actually came out in a press conference and said that the Taliban leadership was supporting the insurgency launched by the Pakistani Taliban. And so it was a case of literally the head of the government of Pakistan saying that we actually hold the Taliban responsible for what's happening given its close links with the Pakistani Taliban. So this has created a major problem between Afghanistan as well as Pakistan. There are also historical tensions now that the Taliban seems to be safely ensconced in power in Afghanistan. It is taking on a more nationalist tone, and remember that any nationalist government in Afghanistan is going to have tensions with Pakistan. Remember that there is a disputed boundary, the same way we have a disputed boundary with some of our neighboring countries. Pakistan and Afghanistan have a disputed boundary around the Durand line, that is the line that divides Pakistan and Afghanistan. And in fact, at several points in the history of Pakistan and Afghanistan, this Durand line has been a source of conflict and tension, and nationalist governments in Afghanistan have always tried to put pressure on Pakistan regarding the Durand line. They do not, they want adjustments to the line. They do not regard it as entirely legitimate, and they want changes to it. So this has always caused tensions between governments in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And now, despite their relationship, despite, as I said, the support that Islamabad gave the Taliban, which allowed it to become the ruling power in Afghanistan, their relationship really dates back 30-40 years. Despite all of that, now that the Taliban is in power in Kabul, there are tensions about things exactly like this, about the Pakistani Taliban and about the Durand line, about issues regarding territory, and that is why you're seeing these tensions. Remember, as I said, this is not the first airstrike that has been conducted by Pakistan inside Afghanistan while the Taliban has been in power. These airstrikes have happened earlier as well, and this is just a follow-on from the terror campaign waged by the TTP. So now, of course, what we're seeing is an escalation of diplomatic tensions, Afghanistan summoning a Pakistani diplomat, and also what we're seeing is them moving heavy equipment as well as guns to the border with Pakistan, signaling in some senses that they do take this seriously, and that they are trying to show Pakistan that they are not amused with what has just happened, that this will not be allowed to be swept under the carpet. They are showing the Taliban government in Afghanistan is showing very, very clearly that they want to put some pressure on Pakistan to stop violating what they see as their sovereignty, even if there are these TTP camps in their territory. Of course, the Taliban has even tried to obfuscate the issue and say that actually no, children have been killed, refugees have been killed, and so on and so forth. They have tried to downplay the impact of the terror attacks that took place within Pakistan. When I was telling you about the terror attack that took place in Saturday in South Waziristan province, they tried to downplay the impact of that. And then, of course, also with this airstrike, they're saying that actually Pakistan has struck civilians, has struck children, and Pakistan is heartless for having done this, and also wrong for having violated our sovereignty. So in both ways, they are both waging an information campaign, trying to condemn Pakistan for what they've done. They've raised diplomatic tensions and now some military tensions as well. We will have an interview for you later in the day with Sushant Sareen, one of India's finest experts on Pakistan, Afghanistan, and really the relationship between the Taliban as well as the Pakistani government, to break down for us what exactly is happening as well as what the consequences could be for these two countries in India's neighborhood. We will keep you absolutely updated on this story here on India Today Global. Please do keep your eyes out later today for that interview with Sushant Sareen. Thank you so much for watching us here on India Today Global. We will keep you updated on this story.